Welcome, everybody. Friday team call. We got a great one lined up for you. Excited to hear from the star of the show. So we'll get to her here in a minute. But let's hit some leaderboards. Off to a pretty solid start for the month of July. Let's get the right page here. Okay, so let's hit leaderboards for the week starting out. And we have all right, so I'm gonna get my life organized here while trying to make sure everybody's got the code. All right, gang. Now leaderboards, just we always start out for those who are new, are pulled this morning, Friday mornings, about 9 a.m. Central. That's my time. But we have until midnight Eastern to get business turned in to count for the week. So obviously, the numbers I read out are just for what we have so far for the day, but more business will be coming in, and it always does later on Friday afternoon, Friday evening. So these numbers typically go up, but let's take a look at what we've got so far on the books. Stella Dinwiddie, so far, one application, $458, direct to myself. Jim Arch, two applications, $2,106, direct to Stella. Terry Myers, three applications, $2,984, direct to Stella, and Terry doing that on vacation. That's awesome. We have Mr. Spencer Cushion, three applications, $3,489, direct to myself. Anna Phillips, four applications, $5,480, direct to Terry Myers. Number one, Miss Stacy Love putting together a monster week. You saw a post on a crew last night, but that wasn't everything. That was only half of it because she had 11 applications so far, $8,005, direct to Donna Bates. And what an amazing week so far, Stacy. Man, that's awesome.
Yay.
Fantastic. Let's hit the monthly leaderboards. Get that page out of here. We're going to do top 10 because this includes everybody in the Vetter agency, as well as the Dinwiddie agency and my base shop. So all groups together. So far for the month, top 10, Terry Myers, seven applications, $4,023, direct to Stella. Stella, three applications, $4,326, direct to myself. James McKeon, four applications, $4,623, direct to John Paul. Sydney Lee, three applications, $4,716, direct to Stella Dinwiddie. Spencer Cushion, four applications, $5,630, direct to myself. Mr. John Paul Vetter, leading from the front as usual, six applications, $6,532, direct to myself. Salvatore Manzo, six applications, $6,854, direct to Joanna Doyman. Anna Phillips, number three overall so far in the hierarchy. Great job, Anna. Six applications, $6,978, direct to Terry. Stacy Love, number two slot, 13 applications, $9,454, direct to Donna. And Jenny Gray, so far leading from the front, 12 applications, $14,001, direct to John Paul Vetter. Last week was actually the first week of the month, and so we didn't announce. I was traveling, and so I did not get to announce our big announcement, the one that everybody is waiting with bated breath every month. So who was the previous month's Golden Chicken Award winner? Ladies and gentlemen, let me get that graphic pulled up for you, keep you all in suspense while I get that pulled up. I'm trying to there we go. Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to share my screen. Drum roll, please. Sharing the screen now. I can get the right buttons pushed. Here it comes. Here it comes. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Spencer Cushion. Knocked off Stella Dinwiddie off her perch. She was sitting up there for 2 months in a row, owning that coop. But Mr. Spencer Cushion said, nuh-uh, that's not gonna, we're not gonna let that go on unchallenged. There we go. That's right. Golden Chicken Award winner, and Mr. Cushion will be receiving an actual golden chicken in the mail within. So supply chain issues. I hate to fall back on that, but yes, surprisingly enough, supply chain issues affect golden chicken as well. So Stella, I think, got hers about mid to late month last time. So Mr. Cushion will have to be patient, and as soon as we are able to hammer out a golden chicken, we will get it flying his direction. So Great job, Spencer. Guys, I've got a special announcement for you this morning. Excited to welcome to the team a new admin, Miss Ashley Hagel, and she is joining us to help out with a lot of stuff. We've got quite a laundry list that she is already kind of neck deep in and learning this process and this system. So you will be seeing her name come across as far as emails, texts, phone calls, whatever. So she will be help moving things from point A to point B behind the scenes, help me unclutter my crazy, wild disorganization. And so welcome, Ashley, to the team. Let's have you unmute and give a shout out to everybody.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for having me on the team. I'm excited to get everything going and Chris under control. Back at it.
That's right. That's right. That's and unfortunately there's not enough hours in the day to keep me on track. So we'll have to do what we can do in the time available. So but yeah, so she so kind of just high level what she's going to be working on is so obviously as a team we're growing very quickly. A base shop, the Dinwiddie agency. Man, we've got so much in the pipeline. It's what I love about it is just there's a lot that you can't see. I mean, we're just looking at the screen doesn't tell the picture because we've got a pipeline a mile long. And as that pipeline starts spitting out new agents, we've got to make sure that they get where they need to go in the process. She's going to be helping moving those pieces behind the scenes, checking, make sure carrier links are getting out, contracts are getting where they need to go. Also kind of helping us with, posting up, leaderboards, recognitions. We want to, I want to do a better job of making sure that we're recognizing what you all are doing every day, every week. And, we want to be able to celebrate that with you. So thank you, Ashley, for coming on board. We're excited to work with her. And again, you'll be just want to make sure we get an introduction so you can kind of put a name with a face, and when you see that email come through, that text to tell you to get your papers together and get it in, you'll know who's behind that. So, all right, gang, announcements. We have gosh, what are we? Should have looked it up. 40 or 41 days left to Denver, gang. So. Hey, and the thing about this is, and you've heard on the national calls last week, and I think on the POG call yesterday, I mean, everybody's saying the same thing, and they're absolutely right. For those of you who haven't been around on one of these big events, because obviously we haven't been able to have one for, a couple of years now. But right now, between now and Denver in third week of August, 15th, 14th, 15th, between now and then, guys, it's number one, it's crunch time. You got to be having that conversation with everybody that you're talking to. You put it on your calendar, book your flights, get it done now. But they're absolutely right. Wherever you're at today in signups, and if you feel like you're behind, don't worry about it, because right now, between now and Denver, we're going to see numbers crushing it. I mean, there are going to be people jumping on, rightly so, because I mean it's a massive event. It's key to success in this business. It literally makes or breaks you. And so let's push hard between now and Denver. And I can't wait to see you all there. It's going to be a fantastic event. We've got a contest going on. Shout out to Anna, who claimed a referral credit for a lead credit, for referrals. There's probably some others on the team. Just make sure you're getting with your upline or shout out to me directly and let me know who your referral was, the name of that referral, the application that you turned in, and who was the referring party. And we will we'll make sure that we get lead credit assigned to you. Also, we announced last week on our hierarchy call with Stella and John Paul that I am doing a leadership retreat in October. Guys, put that on your calendar, man. That's going to be a blast. That's going to be an awesome time. It's going to, we're going to, really tap into one of the tenets of our system. That's have fun, get stuff done. Guys, we're going to have a blast. This is going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of things lined up. but we also have got just a deep dive in training lined up as well. We're going to have so much fun, but we're going to get so much done in personal growth, personal development. We had the builders huddle yesterday, and I was talking to the group about, hey, it's the law of the lid. Stella shared a video with me, and I watched it this morning. As a matter of fact, it's a tenet of John Maxwell's training: is your organization can only grow as high as you will grow. You are the lid on your organization. And we want to make sure that in October, we're going to be raising everybody's lid as far as we possibly can to make sure that everybody is growing in developing not only themselves, but their teams to win at a high level. So put that on your calendars. Again, what we're looking for, guys, on that is key leader, agency owner, key leader, or if you have qualified for just between now and then, just qualify for 1 month for key leader. So key leader is $20,000 issue paid and 4 writing agents on your team. That can include yourself. So really, you just need 3 other agents. They don't need to be doing $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 themselves. You get one of those agents to write an accidental death for $150 APV. They count as a writer. That's the beautiful thing about our boards. Myself, Scott, Jacob, even all the way up to Marshall. We've got writer count that, literally somebody submitted, a brand new agent submitted one application for a child for $100 APV. Number one, we love that. That's somebody helping the family. That's an agent getting their feet wet in the business. We don't really worry about the dollar amount because there's so many wins involved in that for everybody. It's a win-win-win all the way around. So just make sure, again, in pushing for that contest, just keep that, if you're not at key leader yet, put that sticky up on your mirror, look at that every day. All I need, 3 writers besides myself, $20,000 issue paid. And if you're a full-time writer, you're going to put up the chunk of that yourself. I mean, that's just going to happen. So make it happen, gang. Anybody else? So let's pause. Open up announcements for any of the other team leaders, team builders out here that are growing organizations, and shout outs if you want to give shout outs to.
Hey, Chris,
yes.
Can you hear me okay?
I got you loud and clear.
Hey, thanks for the chicken, man. I can't wait to put it in the backyard. Hey, just real quick, I got a question and I got a shout out. I don't think he made the call. I got a guy taking his test today, John. So he's been on every call since I recruited him, John Haas. So hopefully we'll have some good news today. I got a Denver question. So I am trying to, I'm always late to the party, but I'm going to the party. Better late than never, Stella. And so anyway, do you have I know in years past when we've gone, they have the itinerary. So depending on, we've done this before where I might have to catch a flight out late or come in early, depending on overnight. So depending on, the schedule, do we have a printed schedule of what's going on of events on Thursday and Friday?
Good question. I don't remember, to be honest with you. Has anybody else seen that? I know typically the day before conference starts, there's some events that evening, usually kind of welcome.
Check in, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume we're going to follow that same pattern. But typically the conference starts, that first day starts late morning, around midday, around noon, goes through the evening. But usually the night before, because I know people are traveling, coming in, so they'll have like a welcome reception. For those, again, get as many as you possibly can there, because you potentially could qualify to be invited to a leaders banquet, or leaders reception. Not banquet, it's more just kind of a meet and greet. So yeah, I mean, there will be stuff the night before. I mean, okay. So if you can arrange travel, it will be worth your time. But I get it. We kind of got to work around what schedules are available to us.
Right. Right.
I think the big thing is obviously to make sure that you're in your seat, smiling with your pen ready as soon as they kick off the cannons for the big show.
Well, let's everybody say a little prayer with all these flights being canceled and delayed and craziness, that some of us don't get stuck on that whole adventure.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a challenge. I remember one year, and this is before everything went sideways in the last couple of years. I sat in Chicago for about 8 hours, waiting on them to probably change the toilet paper in the plane, and we couldn't launch until that was done. So anyway, you never know. Missing a pilot or missing toilet paper, either way, you're not taking that plane off, no matter what. So, anybody else have any announcements or anything they want to pop in for their teams? Anything going once, going twice? All right, gang. Let's roll into the call. We have got a phenomenal call lined up for you today. And I just realized I need to switch my screen over here so I can pull up the outline that I sent to Miss Stella Dinwiddie, because I wanted to Stella to talk a little bit about a recent trip that she took. And for a lot of people, going on a nice resort trip is kind of one of those lifelong dreams where we, different people plan for a different way. Some people have the jar where every time they come in, they take pocket change out and they drop it in the jar. And some people just pull out the credit card and swipe it and then think I'm going to figure it out at some point down the road. But we are in an amazing business where you can actually have somebody else pay to send you somewhere pretty amazing. And so we're going to talk a little bit about it, but it's not about, it is about the trip, but it's more than the trip. It's about kind of what went into that trip. And Stella, I'll go ahead and have you unmute, and let's talk a little bit about some of your Hawaii highlights. And I want to first start just kind of high level. What's it like to win an all expenses paid trip?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being here, and thank you for everybody who showed up and opened up your video so I could see your beautiful faces. A big part of this is just really showing up. It's just showing up. And going to, having an all expense paid trip was amazing. It felt so good. I feel extremely grateful. It was a feeling of accomplishment. It was a beautiful way of letting myself appreciate my own progress. It let me look back at the hard work that I put into just learning the process. And it showed me what was possible. So if you ask me, what did it feel like there was a whole lot of emotions. When I learned that I won it, I cried. I cried. I'm literally every single trip I win, I've dropped to my knees and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. I am so grateful because I've never had that anywhere.
Yeah, that's great. And it's always amazing to get that notification. Just, oh, hey, by the way, for doing what you were already doing and just taking care of your family. Here's some tickets to go to a 5-star resort. That in and of itself is just, it's kind of mind boggling. But, within that, one of the things that we always talk about in our system, and in fact, as part of our core tenets, massive action, constant correction, the association, working on yourself more than your business, those 4 cornerstones. And one of those that I touched on is, association. And that's the thing that we always said about the trips. Yes, they are amazing. Yes, you get to go to some pretty incredible resorts. But if you stop and think about it, as great as all that is, you're also going to those resorts with other people who are performing at the top of their game. What's the value in association on a trip like this? What did you personally pull out of that, Stella, as you went to Hawaii?
It was huge. It was not just more confirmed belief of what's possible, because Chris, you know, my goals are much stretched much farther than where I'm at today. It's to be, you know, at the top 120, you know, one of the vice presidents to this company, and I'll get there. It's just a matter of time, because the thing that's beautiful about this place is all you have to do is just keep forward with whatever you're doing to work your way towards your goal. As long as you're doing something that's in the direction of your goal every day, you will get there. I mean, look at people like Marshall Whalen. And so the association I love most of all was being able to talk with other like-minded eagles, I call us, you know, positive people who see the vision, who understand the vision, and who put that same level of confidence and belief in me and give it back, and we share it. And that was huge. And I know that, you know, for many of us, you know, we have our own family and friends rooting us on. Like, you know, I love that. But I've heard stories where some people don't have that. You know, you might have your spouse or someone else talking about how, you know, it's not, oh, you know, why don't you get a real job? These people here that I met, these were multi-million-dollar agency owners who poured into me, who I got to ask questions. I got to sit at a table one-on-one with Brian Delaney for a very long time, and we had a great conversation, and he gave me some great pieces of advice that I took away and I shared with you. I got to meet other high producing individuals who gave me, you know, more one-on-one tips, not just like, you know, you're in a meeting or a training, you know, and you hear it, but like they can tell you, and you're like, well, how many leads did you buy? How, you know, and how much, what, you know, all the questions that come with it. That was really exciting. That's how I learned and met Jesse, who I shared with you all on our last meeting, who wrote $112,000 issue paid. I'm sorry. He had $112,000 issue paid in 3 months, mostly on referrals. That was huge. I got to, you know, get poured into by these people. And so, you know, and I got to get to know them. Like, it's one thing to hear them talk on all the national calls, but to actually meet and hug people like Ashley Tarr and her new husband, Tyler Harris, in person, meet, you know, Edward Pritchett and his beautiful wife, Elijah Carrijo, you know, had a great conversation. My son with him came back, you know, and I'll never forget, I sent him a note because Michael was like, you know, we talked about it. We said, you know, hey, what were your top 3 things you loved about the trip? One of them was his conversation with Elijah and Elijah's wife. Like, that's huge. I mean, we love the snorkeling. I got to snorkel with these people. I got to go on water hikes. I got to go kayaking. You know, we went to a luau. Like, there was so many wonderful, fun things we got to do. But that association was really huge. I mean, we all had a blast.
Yeah, that's that is the amazing thing. Again, kind of going back to the theme of have fun, get stuff done. You know, get that growth and personal development while just doing it in some amazing environments. So I had a title, and I actually didn't consult with Stella on this because I ran with this title because I wanted to be kind of eye catching. 50 cents can get you to Hawaii. Stella, how can 50 cents get you to Hawaii? What does 50 cents mean? And this goes to your journey, your story, and this is where I think, and especially for those of you who are new or who are feeling like you're not where you want to be in this business. This is the part obviously dial into all this, but just really pay attention to this part of the story.
Yeah, thank you for that, Chris. You know, it's funny because this part of my story is the biggest testimony of my journey. And sometimes I hate talking about it. Sometimes I love talking about it. Many of you who are new here don't know the whole back end story. Some of you do. And You know, I love that big picture of you behind you, Spencer. That was awesome. But you know, those of you that have heard my story, I'm sorry for you to hear it again. But you know what? Let it be a great reminder, because honestly, like, I never get tired of hearing testimonies from Marlon Faulkner, who was homeless when he came here. Brad and Matt Smith, who were like in debt of, you know, almost $300,000. Their business went under, and, you know, now they're multi-million-dollar agencies. You know, it's just insane. People like Sean Shannon, who he had he was in the mortgage loan industry, and it tanked back in 2008, like a lot of businesses did in that recession, and, you know, which some speculate we're going into now. I'm not an expert in that field. I'll just say that, going back to your question of my journey here, what does 50 cent mean? 50 cent back in the day, 3 years ago, it was only 3 years ago, we had what we called 50 cent leads, which are equivalent to the $1.50 leads that you see now. That is the bottom of the barrel. And you would be like, well, gosh, you know, why would you do so well? Why would you buy those? Because I didn't have anything. You know, just in a nutshell, you know, I came here like totally broken as a cancer survivor. I'm very healthy. I'm super grateful to God for my health. I seek no sympathy. I only say all this to let you know that I didn't let it hold me back. And yeah, you know what? That is a confidence builder for me personally. So before coming here, my whole career was in property management. And for a very long time, that's what I did my whole life. And I was really well at it. I learned how to get really well at it. But actually, like here, it's funny. I was telling Michael, when I first started in property management, my first 3 months, I started off as a leasing agent, and I didn't lease anything. And I went out there and I show everybody apartment after apartment, and didn't lease anything. It took me 3 months to learn it. Once I did, I became, and I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you, when you don't give up, when you push through your learning curves and you push through whatever you're going through, you will get there. Like, it's a fact. And so when I was in property management, I learned how to lease apartments so much that I became property manager over multiple huge properties, and I became a trainer. And, you know, I did a lot of things. They sent me a lot of places, but then the industry got bad, and they had me charging rents to residents, increases that I didn't agree with, like $300 rental increases. That didn't sit well with me. So I was looking to get out of that industry because I felt like it got really greedy. The ownership changed hands. They sold, new set of people came in, and I just felt like a number. There was no, the camaraderie kind of went away. We had it between my team and I, but on a bigger scale, you didn't have Brendan and Casey and Brian and people like Chris, and you didn't have this kind of culture. And I wanted to get out of there. And right as I was going to, I got sick. I didn't get sick. I learned that I was sick, but I didn't feel sick. And I went to the doctor, found out I got diagnosed with lymphoma, papillary cancers, to shorten up the story, and underwent chemo treatment, took time off work, lost about everything, drained my life savings, drained over 100,000 out of one of my 401ks, was not smart about how I did that. So that put me in like worse debt. And coming back into the work field, at like age 50, like, what am I going to do? I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids. Maybe I made some decisions that, I could have done better in my life, but now here I was single with these 2 kids, and I need to figure out how I'm going to put food on the table, how I'm going to pay rent, how I'm going to pay my bills. But I don't want to go back into that old field. I made good money, but I'm not doing that. So I wanted to find something that I could find to be a good service, but I need to make good money. I need to make more money. So I literally looked on ZipRecruiter for all the ads that said how to create, that you could create an income and had an income of like, 150,000 and more, because I set my sights bigger because I had all these huge bills. And I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I got to do this. So I found ZipRecruiter, talked to Chris. I asked him, what is the overhead? Because a long time ago, when I was really young, I owned a cleaning business. So I had some idea, and I did profit and loss in my past job. And he said, you just need a phone, a laptop, and you got to pass your life and health insurance license, and you need to have an investment for leads that, that you can get people to help. You can also help people that but the investment of leads is going to help you. And I was like, okay, I can do all of what you said, but man, the investment in leads, I can barely put food on the table. But I was desperate to change my life, to find something later in life to do. And he said, you can buy 50-cent leads. Well, I didn't really know a whole lot better. And at the time I'm like, okay, it can buy me $50 can buy me 100 of these 50-cent leads. So every week I would buy $50 that gave me 100 50-cent leads. And if you've been dialing, you know that you're going to get way more rejections than you do calling a brand new A lead. That's all the money I had for. So what I did is and I'm ashamed of this kind of, but this is what I did. In the very beginning, because I didn't have the money, I would go to the bank and I would withdraw $300 cash. And I would take like, 150 of it and go get, or $100 to get, a gift card, or $50 for a gift card in the very beginning. The rest I'd use for gas, because when I started here was in April of 2019. That was before COVID. So I would use that gift card so I can go and opt and buy leads. I could have money for gas. I could have money for food and all of that, because I didn't have any money, but the bank would charge me a $35 NSF fee. And I knew once I made a commission, I can pay it back. So I believed in myself and the system enough to be able to do that. But even when I didn't see the results, so I would do that. And then when I helped somebody, I would take that money and I would use it towards buying more leads. And I just kept stockpiling so that I got to a point to where I could buy more leads so that I could get more of an investment back each week. But I started off for the very longest time with 50-cent leads, and I was afraid to buy higher amount of leads because I was afraid of where my budget was. Like, how am I going to pay for things? Well, if I didn't buy them, there's no way I could pay for anything. So my alternative was to buy leads and just crank out the dials. And I did that. And the interesting thing about that, to give you some clarity on what that looked like, I pulled my numbers because people have asked me over time about my numbers, what I did. In my first month in April, I wrote $5,959, just short of $6,000. And then literally, if you look every month, on my 6th month of working off of 50-cent leads and then reinvesting every week and building more and more, my 6th month, I wrote $25,000. $25,421, and there was 17 applications. I kept progressing. Some months I went up and down. The next month I only wrote $19,000. The month after that I wrote $16,000. And then my 10th month I wrote $27,000, and I wrote $27,740, and with 38 applications. That was a lot of sweat equity put into it. It was a lot of, in the beginning, feeling frustrated because I couldn't find my voice. I didn't memorize my script. So I struggled, stumbled over words, didn't know how to overcome objections because I didn't memorize my objections. The beautiful thing about what we have today with Summit and Fast Track is if you do those first, it's going to prep you on how to overcome the stumbling blocks that I probably would have gotten a lot further had I done it in the beginning, but I didn't. I was stubborn. I thought that, well, gosh, I could figure it out. I didn't want to bother Chris. He's too busy to call. I don't want to, I want to figure this out. I want to make him proud and show that I can do this on my own. That's stupid because that's stubbornness. That's ego. Ego doesn't have to mean that, we think we're all that. I didn't think I was all of that. I still don't. I know I'm not all that, but I just felt like I wanted to prove that I could do it. And that part of my ego got in the way. Because I could have probably written 25,000 in my second month, but because I didn't reach out, it was a struggle. It was such a struggle. Crystal, no, initially when I called him, I'm like, I'm making the dials and I don't know why I'm not, they said that I can dial all these and I can make, 10, 15 appointments. And I'm not, I barely made 5 appointments. And he's like, well, let's look at your data. Those 3 words, or 4 words, let's look at your data. And he's like, I'm like, okay. And he's like, how many dials have you made? And maybe, 1 week it might've been like 150, and, maybe I talked to 100 people. And he's like, well, and 5 appointments. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, I can help you, but we don't have enough data. He's like, 150 dials, it's not going to give us enough data, because especially on the leads that you're buying, you got to expect those rejections, those no's, and they have a metrics, that I pulled up, and I love it. I learned it from Sarah Pappas and all the SFG stuff. And it said on the bottom level leads, you have to have at least on an average, expect about 15 people to tell you no before you can make 1 appointment. That means if I made 10 appointments that week and I was dialing off 50-cent leads, then I had to have 150 people tell me that no, quit calling me. I don't, oh, no, thank you. Oh yeah, that's okay. Someone else already helped us. Who are you? Who are you from? Like all of those things. And, after a while, it can wear on you mentally. And you could start wondering, gosh, can I do this? It can wear on you mentally where like, do I have it, what it takes? And for me, I had all these thoughts creep into my head. Gosh, you know what? I'm a cancer survivor. Maybe I'm being too hard on my body. Maybe I shouldn't do this. I'm older. I'm over 50 years old. All these young people coming in here, they've got the energy and strength to continue to dial. I don't know that I have that. Oh, I don't have as much money as all these people to go buy all those leads. How am I going to do that? I don't have the time. All these thoughts, these are bad, negative seeds that do you no good. And I had to learn how to just focus on the activity, not the results, because the results will come. So it was a lot of sweat equity, a lot of tears, crying to Chris, to my family. I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment at the time. So my office was in the living room, and it was like everybody had to be quiet while I'm dialing. With back then was a 15, 14, and 16-year-old. And they were very respectful, but they'd hear me dial. And I remember Michael, my son, was like, Mom, can I be honest with you? You sound canned. And I'm like, I know, but I've got to follow the script. They said I have to follow the script. He's like, that's fine. He's like, but why don't you just talk to them like you talk to us, in your authoritative but kind voice. And I sat there and I was, and I thought about it. And so I'm like, okay. And I heard all this talk about just talk to them like you're calling from a doctor's office. Don't be all telemarketing quick and fast and, just go low and slow. But, just talk to them like I'm talking to you right now. So I did that, and I made it conversational. Like, hey, Sydney, this is Stella, it's calling you back. And when I started to apply that, I started making appointments, and I started making more appointments. And that's where I started seeing that change. And then I started believing in myself. And I've learned over time that I started keeping the promises that I made to myself. And Terry can appreciate this. She knows this. We had, we talked about it initially of like, okay, we just want to make, you know, so many phone calls. And for us, one time it was, you know, making 100 dials, you know, just let's not worry about what it's going to do for us. Let's just make 100 dials. And when I started keeping to the commitment that I made to myself, or the intentional dial time, that's where I started seeing my results, and just focusing and not getting pulled away with all of, you know, all the distractions. So if you ask me, you know, what does that mean, dialing 50-cent leads? It was hard. It was very, very hard, but I did it. I kept at it. And until I started, you know, seeing more results, and I just let those results compound. That's what I did. And you don't see it, you know, at first. And the one thing, if I could have you take away that I loved, and I wrote it down because it meant a lot to me in the beginning process. And some of you, this is going to hit big home with you. Because when you don't see, you know, if there's any of you that don't see the results right up front, and it's having the courageous patience. You know, Brian Tracy, he has this book called No Excuses, and it's really, really good. And he says it's the ability to hang in there and continue working and fighting after you've gone all in and before you haven't even seen any results or rewards. You know, because many of us can come here, and many of you have also, you know, we come here, we can muster up the action of like, oh, wow, this sounds like a great opportunity. I'm going to do this and I'm going to rock at it. You know, I could do that, you know, and we muster up that courage to take on that new goal. But then, you know, but then when we don't see the immediate results, that's where people lose heart. And they pull back, and you know, they're pulling back to their safe and secure spot, and they don't have what he calls staying power. The first time I read this, I cried, because he said it's the staying power. And I wrote down, I have staying power. I am driven. I am determined. I outwork others when I need to. I stick it out until I figure it out. I am focused. I am consistent, because these were the things that I struggled with. And I learned along the way to focus on what I wanted, not focus on my fears. Because if you focus on your fears, that's you're going to get. So I focused on what I knew that it was going to take, that I had to work really, really hard on these. So when you ask me, what is it, you know, what does 50 cents to Hawaii mean? It was a big, huge struggle, because you know, God made me with a spirit of positivity, and I'm so grateful to him every single day. But what I lacked really hard in the beginning, and I still work on, is discipline. The discipline to stay intentional to my schedule, because many of us can say, well, I've been working from 8 in the morning till 9 at night, 10 at night. What are you doing? Like, do you time yourself? Like, with like 3 hours of focus time where you're not texting, you're not emailing, you know, you're not looking up carrier things, like you're just strictly focused. Because if you do that, I guarantee you will see the results. If you don't, I mean, because I did that myself. It feels like you're spinning your wheels and you're not getting any traction. You're not seeing it. And when you actually apply yourself, you're intentional, you do that. And I learned this from Ashley Tarr. It's when you apply excellent execution of the basics every time, over time. And that's made by decision, by decision, by decision, by decision, by decision, by decision, by decision. It's the decision to stay committed to my schedule, that even if I don't see the results that I'm looking for, I'm going to continue to do it. It's the decision, maybe in the beginning, because now I've got my schedule packed with friends and families that I see, you know, personal birthday parties. But in the beginning, when I was learning, I declined. I said, I'm sorry, I'm starting a new business and I'm learning. So I had to put more focus into it. I made those sacrifices in the beginning. I still make some sacrifices, but now I have a way more flexible schedule. So the decision to stay committed to myself, because that's what built my confidence. You know, I love, what's his name? I shared this with somebody recently, Ed Milet. He's got this new book called The Power of One. And you know, when we talk about, okay, how does 50-cent leads get you to Hawaii? It's the power of, I remember when I was dialing, and Jim told me this once when he first started dialing. I loved it. I'm like, that's what I did when I first started dialing. And I didn't get the results I wanted. I'm like, I'm not walking away. I'm just going to make, you know what? I'm just going to try to make one more appointment. Just one more appointment. And sometimes it was that one appointment that I wrote $3,000 APV on. Let me just make one more appointment. You know, so it was the one more. You know, I committed to 3 hours of dialing. Gosh, you know what? I got this momentum built up. Why not do 1 more hour? It's those little decisions, all those little decisions, and you know, built over time. And that's how we create our momentum. And you know, when you ask me, what does it take to, you know, go to earn a trip to Hawaii on 50-cent leads? You know, I won't say that I've been operating off 50-cent leads since then. No, since then, because you heard me reinvest it. If I'm writing $25,000, now I have the ability, because now I'm generating a gross income of $15,000 a month or more. So now I can take $600 or $800 even a week and reinvest it in as many leads as I want, A leads, bonus leads. I'll always get bonus leads. I love bonus leads for a lot of different reasons. I reinvest it. And even if I do that, I tell people, if I spent, let's say $700 a week times 4, that's $2,800. If I'm grossing over $15,000, what kind of return on income is that? Like, I'm not going to balk over that. I'm, you know, and people who invest more than that, you see them writing 40,000, 50,000. You know, there was a gal on Jamie Susie's team last week who wrote 60,000 in 1 week. Like, it's insane what you can do here, but it doesn't just happen, you know, by prayer. It doesn't just happen because you get lucky. It happens with sweat equity. It happens with learning the system. It happens with go through rejections, pushing through the chargebacks. Sometimes we all go through it. We get chargebacks. You know what the best solution to that is to push through, do more activity, because the more activity that you do, activity is always going to be the cure-all, because it will help you write more business. So those chargebacks aren't going to matter. Chargebacks are always going to happen. You know, we can't control that, but we can control our activity, to the dials that we make, to the more important appointments we make. And that's what's going to be the difference maker. So when you ask me, Chris, how did I get to Hawaii on 50-cent leads? It started with a very, very painful process, but it's possible. If I'm possible, it's possible for anybody.
Yeah, that is so powerful. And you know, I love that you finished up with that statement, you can overcome anything with activity, because I've heard Casey say many times that any struggle that you're having in the business, so you say, well, I'm not closing high enough, make more appointments. You can have the same close rate. If you have more appointments, your numbers are going to go up. I'm struggling setting appointments, make more dials. You can, again, low set rate, you can still get where you want to go. Well, my APV average per application is not high enough. Write more applications. Anything that you're struggling with can become overcome with more activity. And the beautiful thing about that, and this is the thing that people miss, is by doing that more activity, you actually get to that point of becoming better, where you don't need to do the more activity. But it's a circle. Until you do the more activity, you can't get better. So you can do less activity, so you don't have to. I mean, that's how this all works. And too many times, you know, and hey, look, we're all guilty of it. It's human nature. We want to take the path of least resistance. So we think we're going to find the golden ticket. We're going to find the shortcut, the thing that nobody else has ever figured out. And somehow we are going to find it out and not have to work more than 2 hours a week and still make the kind of income that you're seeing on the leaderboards. That's just not going to happen.
Hey,
Chris, at the end of the day, it's work. Yes, sir.
Can I have a second on the table today?
Yeah. Briefly.
So first of all,
Stella,
Stella, you're an awesome example of everything that Symmetry is about, but more importantly, just awesome values that is successful in business. And I just want to add that, you know, for anybody on the call knows this, if you don't know this, you know, I don't think you need a hammer over that. There is nothing in life worth having that is easy. In other words, so that you know, being you know, sharing my old age here, staring down 60 here in a few years, you know, there is you know, there's nothing you can do to legally that you can be successful in life without paying your dues. Nothing. And so, you know, just big kudos to you, Stella. It's been a pleasure and an awesome ride, just knowing you. So awesome. I'm not going anywhere, at least unless the Lord takes me today. That's okay. But, you know, I'm just saying, awesome.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm grateful to know you. Like, I can't stop talking about my gratitude and thankfulness, because I have to pinch myself every day. Like, my life has changed so dramatically being here, not just income wise, but like in my soul. Like, we talk about this as a leadership development company that just happens to sell insurance. And you know, the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, cool. You know, I want to be a better leader. But the culture that you're in, I mean, there's a reason that we've been voted #1 culture for the last 2 years. You know, there's a reason why we were voted #1 in for, was it the insurance industry? I can't remember the name of the award, but this year that we were named #1. And it's being able to really hone in and find and learn about the best version of myself. I haven't found her yet, but I love who Stella's growing into. I love where I'm at today. I love the accomplishments. I love people I get to work with. I love being here. Like, that is priceless to me. Sorry.
No, that's perfect. In fact, it's a perfect transition, because I'm gonna switch up the order just a little bit, Stella, because I want to get this piece in, because I think this is huge. This is key. We'll circle on the other stuff if we have time. If not, it's not a big deal, because I think this is a key linchpin to your conversation today, because we have a lot of 2019 versions of Stella on the call today. So people who are just getting started out, maybe haven't even started yet, maybe people who have started and just feel like they are spinning the wheels in the mud. So what would you say to yourself if you could get in a time machine, go back to 2019 and sit down with the earlier you? So sitting across the table, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give her to help her through the pits of despair, the roadblocks, the brick walls, to go from penny leads all the way up to agency owner, carrier trips, and beyond?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I would tell Stella when she first started was to learn how to become more disciplined and intentional with her schedule from day one, and stay committed for the times, my learning curves when I didn't have the confidence, to learn how to build my confidence through, sticking to being committed to my schedule and to everything I said I was going to do, the dials I said I was going to make. Because here's what I learned from Ed Milet, where I was going with that, is that he said, you know, if you don't have self-confidence, here's what you have. You have a really bad reputation with yourself. You've built a habit of not keeping promises to yourself. And think about it, when you make a list of whatever you do every day, whether you've got a list of boom, 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 10 things, if you accomplish them all, how good do you feel? how much confidence does that give you when you've accomplished everything on your checklist? So I would tell Stella, be intentional with your schedule. You know, when she first started, I would tell her to do more activity. I would have told her that, hey, when someone no-showed you, go and make 2 more appointments, because you will not believe what that will do for you. Go back it up. Don't spend that time sitting there crying about what went wrong, why they didn't show up, you know, woe is me. Turn it around and make 2 more appointments. That was a game changer when that happens. I would have told her to master the script and practice her overcoming her objections up front. I would have told her to really understand how to connect with people better in terms of really understanding what their why is. It's in that understand. I would have told her to learn better on how to understand my client who I'm helping, rather than trying to be understood. That's something that's been big for me, is to understand better than trying to be understood, or be more interested rather than being interesting. I would have told her that I'm glad that she went to conference. That's one thing I have no regrets. That's why I know for a fact what helped me to write 25,000 my 6th month here is my very first month, I got to go to that 2-day training conference. I never gave up. And I'm glad that I made the associations that I did. So I know we're right up at the hour and people have appointments. So I'll wrap it up with the things that, you know, I'm glad I did. And those are the things that I wish I did. I wish I did more activity. I wish that I would have backfilled quicker. I wish I would have prepared myself with more training. I wish I would have reached out to you more and not wait until I got to the highest point of frustration of, you know, 3 months, 2 months down the road and saying, I'm not helping this lady I know I should have. I wish I would have done that from day one.
So last thing, 60 seconds. If you hadn't joined Symmetry or Quality 3 years ago, would you be taking trips today, and what would your life look like?
No, I would not be making trips if I was doing what I was doing before. I would have less time with my family, because I would be in my office. There were days when I went, you know, left the house at 7:30 in the morning. Some nights not come home until like literally 8:30 at night. And all because of like making, you know, $27 an hour. Like, no, I wouldn't have gone on trips. My life would be, and it would be more empty, because I wouldn't have been able to learn how to work on myself, how to, you know, find the best version of myself. That wasn't an important piece of that other job or that person that I was working for. Now I get to work for me. I get to work for me for my own business, and I get to work for me so I can be a better mom, you know, better to my family, better friend to my friends. I love that. I love that. It's priceless what I have here today versus what I didn't have before.
Awesome. That is an amazing call that you shared with us, Stella. I wish we had another hour to go, because you got so much to pour into us. But guys, you know, the thing I will say about this, and Stella touched on it a few times, and I appreciate her saying she wish she would have called me. It's not me, guys, it's the system. So this system and design, if you're not where you want to be, if you feel like, and it doesn't matter if you're brand new or if you've been here a while, whatever's going on in your life, in your journey, if you're not where you want to be and you feel like there are things holding you back, you're struggling, you're not figuring things out, you've got to reach up. You've got to reach up in the system. That's what it's designed to do. So your upline, or maybe your agency owner, maybe your key leader, reach out to me. Guys, I love when somebody reaches out and I can sit down with them and have a conversation. And that's actually one of the things that I do best, is helping, you know, I'm visionary. I can see pictures and pieces and help move things where they need to be moved. That's just kind of, that's my personality. Now, some people are better at the actual nuts and bolts and helping you through, maybe a part of the script or whatever. But the point is, this system is here and designed that you don't figure this out. I mean, yes, you learn as you go, but you don't figure it out on your own. You lean heavily on the process, what we have in place. Massive action, constant correction. The constant correction piece of that is you've got to plug in. You got to plug into your mentors in the business, the person that brought you on, the agency owners, but plug into the training calls, plug into the meetings. This is a business where success comes from plugging in. So, gang, we are about 3 minutes over, but it has been time well spent. So grateful to Stella for the call this morning, but just as grateful and more grateful so that she's a part of this agency, and just, we would be nowhere near where we are without her. So Stella, very grateful to you for all that you've done and continue to do. And you're just your presence in the agency. It's just very, very grateful to have you as part of the team. So, gang, thank you all for jumping on. Let's go out. Let's keep the momentum up, pushing hard towards the event in Denver. Gang, I cannot tell you how critical it is. I know everybody on the screen has probably already signed up, but the people that you're talking to don't know how much impact this is going to be on them. So it's up to you to be able to convey that. Let's have those conversations. Let's get them there. It's make or break for this business. It literally is. And that's not hyperbole. Statistically speaking, it is make or break in this business, whether you get to these advanced trainings or not. So, all right, gang, listen, appreciate all of you. Let's go out. Let's finish up strong. Have a great weekend. We'll see you all next week.
Chris.